To be lack.
Hello and welcome to the Saladcast on Sunday the 26th of January 2020. I'm your host Dan Train. Joining me today, Zachary Burgess.
Drinking a tea.
Robert Kemp.
I'm going to say a Tupolak is some kind of Vulcan.
And special guest Laura.
Yo.
Yeah, we have a guest.
Yeah. When was our last guest?
Long time
Well,
ago.
it's a while ago, and I'm pretty sure it would have been Kippers.
Probably. We've had Ho on before, right? Haven't we?
The first year.
Yeah, we had,
like 10 years ago, yeah.
We had several guests in season 1, and
Yeah.
then kind of just poo-pooed the idea.
Filtered it out, yeah.
It was just so inconvenient.
You hear that? Zach's calling you inconvenient. That's a lovely way to treat our guests.
Well, you're in the same room. That's like it's only as inconvenient as it usually is.
Did I ever tell you left your website as the default homepage on the school computers?
On the Stonemarket High School computers. Happysalad.com.
In media studies, yeah.
Oh, really? Who was that? Was that me or you, Zach?
It wasn't me because I didn't go
Okay.
into computer labs.
Why would I have done that? Okay, what was on there?
Who did
I
we
have no
employ?
idea. I think I was like, what is this? I didn't know you.
I mean,
That's even better.
Little did I know.
Is that before we met then?
Yes.
Yeah, it would have been because you would have been at school. Yeah, okay.
Oh, that's fantastic. And it would have been the crappy old happysalad.com
Had a
site.
picture of a smiling salad.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's still true.
Well, no, we don't have that anymore, do
You'd
we?
have refurbished since then.
Yeah, well, we've got is the tomato now. We don't really use the
We
the
ditched
smiling
salad
salad
place.
is gone.
Making our brand make even less sense than it already did.
Yeah.
Because now it doesn't even include the thing that originally inspired the name.
But that wasn't what inspired the name. I don't even know because it came from that song that Rob made on music for the PlayStation.
We've regaled this tale a few times, and I watched a video about the software in question today. In fact,
Oh, really?
it was music on the PlayStation 1.
Who made
which
that
is a
again? Psionics? or something?
Codemasters
No,
and
Codemasters.
Codemasters and Jester Interactive, apparently.
Okay.
And apparently the American version had some sort of MTV link as well, but I don't think that made it into the EU release. Yeah, and we made a song that for some reason we called Happy Salad because you could, in the video bit, you could have a polygonal smiley face, and there was a texture that looked a little bit like leaves.
Was that definitely it?
Wow.
That's the reason I'm going with.
Or was it not like the name of a sample or something?
I don't think so. No, that was Religion, right? Because the other track
Well,
we made.
yeah, but
in
that was a
thing.
vocal.
Yeah, one of the few vocal tracks you could actually probably do something with. That wasn't just "oh yeah" or "in the place."
In the place?
I don't know, 90s rave vocals. Kind of bad.
Oh, okay.
It was a different time, man.
I just realised I'm starting a new project soon, and my office is going to be in the city.
Fantastic.
So that'll be good. I'll
You can
let you
tell us
know what's going on. Yeah. So I'm sure at the time, like, you were already using Fast Tracker or whatever, weren't you? So why were you making songs on the PlayStation as well? Or was that
Because Rob just needed output anywhere. Just shit out more music somehow. More samples to use.
My creative juices were flowing, and I
Right.
needed a new set of restrictions in which to work.
That's right. It's all about restrictions, isn't it? Too many
Set yourself
possibilities
some
now.
rules.
Your Fruity Loops Pro, whatever you're on.
FL.
The restriction in that case is how much Rob can be asked to fuck around with installing modules and shit.
There's so many dials. It's like there comes a point where it's just like no, actually, my limit is how much time do I want to spend learning what all the dials do.
Yeah. Every time you install a new thing, it's like, here's another 200 dials to fuck around with.
How do I make this sound remotely good? Yeah, I'm not sure I've got the same spark I once had. I was sort of working on original tracks for once rather than doing remixes, and it's just I'm struggling these days to come up with stuff.
But isn't it nice to have an environment that theoretically works now?
Oh yeah.
Rather than having to go through a whole rigmarole to even enter the condition where you could make things.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Running on FL Studio 20 now. 20.6, I think they're on. And it's Yeah, it is very nice.
What was the
Things
thing you got for
work.
Christmas? A license or something?
A proper license for it.
Oh,
Yeah.
license. Yeah. Okay.
Legal status. Is
Yeah,
what Rob got.
Legal.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I apologise for the previous many years.
So that's salad, and that's how it ended up on the school computers.
Well,
I
That's
hope
not
it's
really
still
how it-
there.
I'll
It might
be
just go
amazed if it's
down.
still there.
I would be surprised if the
That's
computers
right.
haven't changed since
No, like,
1998.
why would they buy new ones?
Yeah. I mean, it's a technology college or something, wasn't it? Do you remember that?
It's moved now. The whole building's been moved, right?
Well, I haven't been there. I don't really understand what's going on with Stowmarket because
The
there's
middle
like
school is now
gone.
and the high school, I think, has been moved
Oh.
somewhere. It's still there, but they're going to use a different building or something like that.
Well,
Wait.
it seems like it needs to double in size if they close the middle school because there's that giant new estate on the other side, like
Yeah,
next to Tesco. So
that's
where do
what
all
they're
these kids
doing.
go to school? I don't understand.
Well, the middle school got folded down into the primary school, didn't it? That's why, or
Did
half
it?
of it did.
Yeah,
In-
because
I think half went both ways.
But Bosnia
have
hasn't
middle
exactly.
Yeah,
school.
Bosnia is tiny. It's like how
that's
they
in the
fit
market. Though.
half.
That's a different middle school. Talk about
that's true.
Stowmarket.
But they
Okay.
closed all the middle schools, though, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Right? Because
And not
they
many
just got rid of that
places
whole
have them.
idea.
Mhm.
So did they expand the primary school in Stowmarket?
Yeah, more people go to the primary school and the high school, or the secondary school as it will be now.
Hmm.
I saw the other day someone had done one of those things where you break into an abandoned building of the middle school,
All
and
right.
it's real creepy. Like there's still binders and like
Right.
books and science equipment.
Urban
and stuff.
spelunking.
Yeah,
Why do people just leave everything when you? I don't know. I guess there's no reason
no
not
one wanted
to.
it.
Maybe all the staff are like, thank God we can finally have an excuse to get new shit. We'll just
Yeah.
accidentally leave all this stuff
Forget
behind.
Well, that I assume the walls weren't still covered with like bad child art.
They probably
No,
do.
there wasn't
Why not?
art, but there was still like the background and borders around like
Hmm.
colourful paper and stuff.
Yeah, like the construction paper. Like
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
I always imagine those things as being a bit like billboards, and that you never actually take the thing down. It's just layer upon layer
Yeah.
upon
Yeah.
layer.
Right.
The room slowly gets smaller.
Yeah. I've barely set foot in a middle school because I never went into the Needham Market one really, apart from with you. I think on some
Do you ever?
kind of
I
where
suppose-
I think I went in the computer room at the Needham Market Middle School once and played like Marble Madness or something like that on some day when they had like inflatable things outside.
Oh
Play-
no,
fun day or
no!
something.
Are
Whatever
you
it's called.
referring to Play Scheme?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that wasn't really a school-run thing, but it used the building.
Yeah, so that's
Um,
the only time I've been there because I wasn't at that school, so I don't know.
It used like what was that? That was the year 6 area. I
Yeah, the
think.
back half.
Yeah, the back side. It used the butt of the school, and yeah, that was like a summer 5 days every summer. There used to be some sort of
Right.
like
Yeah.
sort of just an activity week for kids, and it
Yeah,
was
I think I
that,
went
that
to
my
that.
mum used to help out with and stuff.
Oh,
like that.
that's
So I
probably
was, so I-
why.
So I was always there.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
that
also
makes sense.
conveniently near your house.
Yeah.
This is helpful.
Just down the causeway, or the corpse way, as it's.
The corpse way across the field.
Yeah.
Apparently, all of that's like probably gonna go.
Yeah, they're like building houses. I walked past there at Christmas, and they're building houses down basically on the middle school field. I think.
Ugh.
I don't.
That makes me sad.
Yeah. I don't know
Well,
where the
it's just
traffic's gonna
dumb. If they're shoving all those extra people into Bosnia, they're going to need more space, and like the Bosnia field is tiny as well.
Hmm. Well, it's not bad by primary school standards, to be
I don't
honest.
know.
go. Yeah, I remember
I mean,
landing a
it probably
helicopter
seems
on
bigger
it.
than it was because you were tiny at the time.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
Hmm.
In the heady days when you thought that the higher gears on a bike made you faster because you're an idiot.
I never thought that.
Yeah, I
Laura
did. I had
Superior.
I had that thing that
Obviously
overplayed
not
it.
first.
Yeah. Depends how hard you pedal.
But they're so weird, aren't they? Like bike gears. Like I thought that the number goes up. That means you
Yeah.
go faster, like in a car,
like-
right?
Yeah.
For when
'Cause
you're
you
going
knew about
fast,
cars at that
like
time.
a car.
I had video games.
I guess.
I played Lotus Challenge on the Amiga.
And they went up to like 6th or something, and you're like, "Wow, top gear."
Yeah, and you thought, oh, my legs feel like they're spinning really quickly in Top Gear. Just like because they are.
Yeah, it's so fast.
Ah.
Nice. I don't know what happened to my bikes. More bike.
Mine all got stolen. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, apart from the last one, which I gave back to Mum because, yeah, it was too heavy.
I was the only student in Cambridge without a bicycle, I think. I just walked everywhere and everyone got their bikes stolen constantly. And I was like,
Yep.
I can't be dealing with that.
Got to steal your feet.
They probably could, but
I mean,
it was so rife in Cambridge that the police used to do weird sting operations, to catch where they, have bikes with trackers on them and stuff. And
Wow.
I got like a Need for Speed moment in my head there, where like they were doing some kind of like operation where there's like bike chase going on, and they lay out stingers to
yeah.
puncture the bike tires.
You'd get a lot in Cambridge if you lay one of those across the street.
It'd be great. It'd be like a Tour de France peloton just having a bike crash, and the Blues Brothers, but on two wheels.
Once I was walking with my friend along the backs, so it was along a narrow path, but like with wide grass on either side, like by the river, and just walking down the path, and a bike coming towards us, and I got out the way, but she got caught in one of those, you go left and they go left, and that you're both trying to avoid each other things, and the bike ran into her, but it was a tandem. So it was a kid on the back as well. So it was a mother and a kid.
Wow.
And the cyclist said sorry in the most aggressive, unsorry way I've ever seen. And it's like, poor girl got run over by two people.
There was the kid at the back saying, "Floor it, Mum."
Yeah, exactly. Go. I couldn't believe it. Barely ever seen a tandem, let alone get run over by one.
Cyclists in Cambridge are particularly aggressive.
Cyclists.
I was just like, did I hear that right?
Yes, you did. I was trying to see if that was going to sit or if it was going to react. But I mean, they are the most.
Yeah, they're the
hey,
most
I'm
aggressive
here.
cyclists.
Everyone must get out of my way.
Yeah, well, in London, it's just like terrifying.
That's just general cyclists. They're beyond traffic regulations.
Yeah,
They never stop at red lights, but apparently
Right.
that's fine.
It's
don't know.
not.
Is it
really
though?
not
Is it not?
fine.
A
Yeah,
cyclist
It's really not fine.
it should be treated the same as a car.
I agree, but apparently
No,
doesn't make it any more dangerous.
Just mount the curb if there's a red light. That's fine.
They're not supposed to be on the pavement.
No, I know.
that is technically better, I suppose. Because
Oh.
the cyclist is less likely to get actually hit by something, unless a pedestrian, throws a punch.
I used to work in an old people's home, and it was a nightmare. Like walking down the pavement, and people will mount the curb. Like some people are blind or deaf.
Yeah, I can see that being a
Get hit
problem.
by a bike. Yeah.
I mean, you can
At
get
least you
hit by a tandem bike in the middle of a really wide
That's a
space.
strange
And
image.
you're fully able. Yeah.
At least if you were blind and got hit by a bike, you wouldn't have to regale the humiliating story of being hit by a bike instead of something bigger.
It's true. This
That's
person
true.
shall be remain nameless, mainly because I've forgotten what her name was.
You're the tandem owner. In which case, that's
No, the girl I was walking with, not the I definitely
see,
don't know.
I see.
Anyway,
Bike
yeah, what's going on, guys?
You seen that Picard?
No, should we watch that, Laura?
Yeah, apparently it's good.
Really?
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
not bad.
Oh, interesting.
How much does Rob care about Star Trek?
Well, not a huge amount, but I care a lot about Patrick Stewart.
I
So-
heard it was like influenced by Battlestar Galactica. That's why.
Oh, yes.
That's what I read. In
I was
the
about to
title.
say,
It's
it's-
political.
It's a bit of a grab bag from like lots of different,
Yeah.
sources. Like, I'm not sure it's wholly original, but it's doing. As
Like-
I say, it's pulling from a lot of different things in a way that is acceptable. I'll give it
So
that.
I haven't watched it yet, obviously, but I didn't understand why Patrick Stewart would agree to do it. But now I've heard that like it's a bit woke, and it was
Yeah.
and it's his like anti-Trump thing that because
Yes,
he's always been quite political, like, and he's like a big Labour supporter, and I think he's pissed off about Trump and Boris. So
Star Trek
that's why
has
he's doing
always
it.
been woke, right?
Yeah, that's true. I think,
I don't think
I think that's why he agreed to do it.
Yeah, well, it's not hugely spoilerific to say, like, because early on in the first episode, it's made clear that stuff has happened since he was last in Starfleet, because he's not
Ooh.
anymore, and he now kind of hates it. And the last mission he was involved with went bad because of a Starfleet decision. It involved the Romulans and stuff like that. He was trying to save some Romulans, and they kind of withdrew from a rescue effort. And and he vehemently disagreed with that and some other decisions that happened at the same time. And so him and Starfleet don't get on.
The Romulans, though,
Classic
I don't know if
Romulan.
I'd trust them. I don't know. They do
well,
seem
no.
to-
Well, they're like the Nazis, aren't they?
kind of. They're like well, I guess they're meant to be like the Roman Empire, right, or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Literally,
But-
Rom.
hence
Yes.
the name.
Amazing naming conventions.
Yeah,
Well, the guy was called Nero in that Star Trek film.
yeah. Well, exactly.
The
I mean, it's
one
very on
that
the
wasn't
nose.
Star Trek 1.
Did they ever do the classic thing where they reveal that they actually, like, the Roman names actually came from the Romulans because of ancient cultures and
Oh,
contact with aliens?
Yeah.
that would be good. That would. Oh, I don't know if that would be good, but that would.
I don't
be,
think it'd be good.
No.
They call things
Yeah.
ancient that are only like 100 years old or something.
Fellas, the Romulans themselves are only technically 1,000 or a few thousand years old as a race.
Oh, did they split off from the Vulcans that
They are-
recently?
Yeah, that was it, wasn't it? Because it was basically just a disagreement in the philosophy of the species, and they.
But now they're like a totally different race, apparently, with a totally different culture.
The Vulcans
Yeah.
were like, we need to control our powers, our mental powers, so that we don't turn evil,
Hmm.
I think.
something like that. And to be honest, yeah,
With
I had a
logic.
hard time throughout watching this episode telling them apart, because I don't think there are
Vulcans
there are
and
any
Romulans.
Well, yeah, because I don't think there
Yeah.
are any Vulcans in this episode.
Probably not.
But I was looking at everyone going, oh, they've all got pointy ears, must be Vulcans. They've all got really big eyebrows.
You can tell the Romulans because they've got big square shoulder pads.
And their faces, they've got like
That's-
some ridge on their eyebrows or something.
yeah. They've
No,
got
it wasn't
more
like the
face makeup.
Kardashians.
No, they're more.
They all have
Kardashians have
ridges.
more. Most of them have ridges.
Yeah, it's a very ridge-heavy lore.
Well, what else are you going to do? You've got a human face. You've got to put some makeup on it. You can stick some bridges on there.
There's like lines in between the eyebrows.
Frecklies, guys. Wasn't one character like super freckly?
Yeah, there was that one species.
Yeah,
Freckly species.
yeah. I can't remember. Was it
Galaxian.
Deep Space Nine? Was she in?
It might have been
or something?
Voyager.
Oh, it might have been Voyager.
Neelix.
No, not Neelix.
He got
Well,
spots.
also Neelix. but
Neelix
yes.
is
Yeah,
friend.
he had a lot of spots. Yeah, he's quite freckly. Not what I was thinking of. Dax? Is that it?
No,
Yeah,
it's-
Dax has got spots as well.
Yeah. But Dax is the worm thing, right?
Trill.
Trill.
Yeah.
So there's like
I'm at my depth.
two Dax hosts.
I think
on
you're
both
always
things.
accurate. As soon as you start
Yeah,
watching
one of
Star
them
Trek.
dies.
Cheers, Zach. Apparently, I'm always at my depth.
So, we were looking yesterday for the Picard advert on in the Tube. They've done Piccadilly Circus.
Sweet.
It's pretty silly.
I like that.
We didn't see it because the Piccadilly Circus was closed. We had to go to Leicester Square.
There's one thing I'll say about it. Is I enjoyed it immensely. It was.
That's really good. Then
That's a good thing. But there's just one thing I wasn't quite so. I'm not convinced by Picard himself, which is a bit of a problem. In that everything is great up until he kind of has to say something meaningful. If you know, well, actually, that's not strictly true. It's basically like his lack of reluctance in taking up the quest, shall we say?
he's
Just
too
comes off
infused.
as a little weird. Yeah, he's just like, why?
Maybe he's just like, fuck it. I don't know. I'm old now.
There's a little
so
bit of that.
Nothing to
I
lose.
think he's I think he has one of these moments towards the end of the episode where he's just like, I'm an old man and what am I doing with my life? Let's go do something. But it's just sort of there's something about like his tone where he just says things really quickly, like that. But it's just like, I'm gonna go do a thing. It's I don't know.
Okay. Does he have the? Do they explain why he
just
doesn't get the
thing?
The neurologically degenerative disease thing that he has in the last episode of?
Oh no,
TNG.
they didn't talk about that.
I know
at all.
that's a different timeline or whatever, but he's supposed to have that syndrome or whatever, isn't it? That he in the future.
Is it a different timeline? I thought they were on the Prime line.
Yeah, but
Yes.
is that a Prime line? Because they changed the future of. Well, no, that the last episode of TNG, they're like trying to stop the timeline change in the past, right? Because Q is gonna like destroy the beginning of life on Earth or something like that. Well, do you remember that? All good things.
I'm struggling.
Typical Q.
I remember Q.
There's too much time travel. It happens too many times.
Yeah,
It's like let's unfuck this and then maybe we'll still get fucked.
Red matter, yo.
Oh no, that's not in it. Has it got anything from the weird Kelvin timeline then? In this
No,
one?
well, the part of that bad thing that was happening while he was rescuing with those Romulans was to do with a supernova event similar to the one that was
in that film
destroying
Right.
Vulcan, the planet of Vulcan, right?
Right. So, but that's the point where the timeline splits, isn't it? Like with that, isn't it? In that film? Oh no, it's
this
not.
is where my knowledge falls apart. It's
the
like
timeline's-
something to do with that.
I can't remember the timeline split. Does it split when the big monster, the opening scene of that movie where the big monster ship comes mining ship?
Yeah,
thing
the portal
attacks
from the other
Kelvin?
universe, basically.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that fucks up all the timelines.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, well, we'll check that out. Did you see it, Zach?
No.
Okay. Okay, so we
It's
talk about
nice.
video games.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, what's going on?
Oh, we could talk about films as well if you wanted.
Oh,
I
sure.
saw that 1917. That's a
Oh,
good
yeah.
film.
Oh, you enjoyed it?
I really did actually. It's like I was sort of going into it thinking this is going to be one of those damn war films, and yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah, it's
but
one
it's
of
not. But it's it's way more gripping than I expected. I
How'd
think
it
the
compare to
sort of-
like Dunkirk or something like that?
Well, Dunkirk's quite a slow burn, isn't it? Really, in that it's more about
It
the
is.
dread, whereas
like tension,
this
yeah.
is. I suppose 1970 is more a Fellowship of the Ring kind of vibe.
They're just
Well,
constantly
Fellowship of the Ring
running
is-
through
is-
fights.
is-
Kind of, yeah. It's a journey.
I mean, parts of Lord of the Rings is based on his experience in the First World War, isn't it? Like, and like the idea is that he's the officer, Frodo, and what's his name, Sam Gamgee is his like Batman.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Go watch Tolkien. Yeah.
Oh yeah, have
Yeah.
you seen that in that
Yeah.
bad biography thing?
But yeah, it's very good. It's not a huge amount you can say without spoiling it because it's the moment to moment that really counts in that thing.
Yeah.
But it threw some surprises in relatively early on that meant that the rest of the film you're not quite sure. Well, it wasn't quite the film I was expecting, if you see what I mean. But in a really good way. It was
Oh, cool. Because I'm sort of debating whether to go and see that. There's so much good on at the moment because all of the Oscar stuff came out at once. We were at the cinema yesterday,
strong in
and
it for a bit, which is always good.
we had like 5 choices, didn't we?
Yeah, everything was
5,
good.
6 choices. So yeah.
What
Mark
else is
Strong.
on your choice list?
Well, I was like Little Women, Jojo Rabbit. There was an anime from the Your Name people.
Oh yes,
something
yeah,
like
I heard about that. I forget what it's called though.
Weather something.
Weather
you?
people.
Or everywhere you go, always take the weather with you. I think. And what else was there? Oh, Bombshell, the Fox News thing. There's a ton of stuff. But we ended up seeing The Farewell.
The Farewell. Okay, don't know that one.
Do you know about that? It's like it's a little family movie about it's based on a story that I'd heard on This American Life, the podcast, about a Chinese American young woman who goes back. What happens? Her grandma. They find out her grandma's got
dying.
cancer, but they won't tell her.
Because in China, you wouldn't tell someone.
So the whole family goes back over to see her before she dies, but no one can tell her that she's dying.
But everyone else knows?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Apparently that's normal.
But why would only one person not know? If the tradition is to not tell someone that you're dying.
The person
Just the person who's
The person
dying
who is dying, they
doesn't
don't want
know.
them to know.
Oh, wait, the person who is dying doesn't.
Yeah.
doesn't know. Yes.
But you think it would become
Just
real
one
obvious real fast.
Well,
It's like,
yeah.
why are all these people suddenly coming to visit me?
Well,
Oh,
that's
shit.
it. They had an excuse. They put on a wedding, like a. I don't know if
That's
it's-
quite a cover.
Was it a
Yeah.
fake wedding?
I don't know. It seemed. Maybe they just thought they knew they'd been going out for what was it, 3 months or something. Maybe they hurried it
Yeah.
along just for an excuse to go and see their grandma before she died. Anyway, it was quite sweet. I would recommend it actually. What do you think, Laura?
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, pass me by that one.
That'll be fine to watch on Netflix or whatever. I think it's up. It must be up for an Oscar or something. Check that. Is that Oscar? Is that Oscar?
My
nominated?
internet's died.
Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, recommend.
The one thing I'll say about 1917 is don't watch it with someone who is jumpy to gunshots in an IMAX theater.
Yeah.
Jumpy to gun. Oh, like
Because there's a lot of surprise gunshots, right?
right.
And they're very, very loud in IMAX. And I think Gnome got her steps in just by jumping out of her seat. You know?
Oh, blimey.
It was you know that horrible thing, right? When you're next to someone and you're okay with the moment that's just happened, but you're jumping at the action of the person because they're suddenly going blah, and it's like that's freaking you out. So I'm sat there sort of also jumping around, but just in a sort of weird Mexican wave.
Yeah.
IMAX. I mean, is it really how I'm?
It's not
I guess,
true IMAX.
Okay.
Like it's not like the
It's-
biggest of the big ones, but it's,
Right. Oh man, I went to the one in Leicester Square. Yeah, I mean, you're right up because the rake is really extreme, and you're right up in the screen. It's freaking crazy. I went to see. Well, it was just Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so it was kind of weird, like normal film on IMAX size.
Yeah, that's where it sort of falls
It's quite
apart. For me. Like
strange.
I don't mind watching like big action films on a proper IMAX screen. Well, on these not proper IMAX screens, but it's
Yeah.
like surely to do something like properly designed for that IMAX screen.
Yeah.
It's like you need to be like the frame needs to be huge, right? And the
Yeah,
people still
yeah.
need to be relatively small within it.
Within the frame, yeah. I'm sure it'd be great for 1917 or something, maybe, but yeah,
Maybe.
anyway.
But anyway, that's the film news. Apart from there might
Film
be a
news.
couple of news points about some film action.
Okay, let's go to the news. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
And then
Yeah.
So I think we might need to workshop that a bit more.
News.
News.
That's what we actually have.
That's what we have. That's our news.
After 10 years, that's the best we've come up with.
Okay, go.
So the little bit of film news, which isn't really news,
No.
but like that Gary Whitta bloke, you know, the one that wrote Star Wars Woke One.
Right.
He saw some fan art for Star Fox stuff and was like, I want to make a film with this, and everyone's latched onto it.
It's not going to happen.
It's not, of course, it's not
Nintendo
gonna
aren't going to
happen.
give out their license.
Well, except
There's nothing to it, though. What would you do with Star Fox?
You might as well say, what would you do with Asteroids, that film that never came out, but they were trying to
there you
make
go.
at one point?
What do you
But
do
then
with
Star Fox-
Battleship? Oh, wait. That's what you do with Battleship.
I really think there's like promise for a decent Star Fox story. Like,
Really?
you know, that's you don't have to retread the whole James McLeod line and all that stuff. But
But we
Wolf's a
do.
decent antagonist, and like Sol Andros and all that stuff. So it's like
No,
just
they're
have, like,
going to have that.
you know, it could be just a good rivalry story.
I don't think it can be. That's not enough stakes for a space movie.
That's why you get a good writer like Gary Whitta.
Maybe.
Skepticism.
I
over here.
think I'm just desperate for some decent Star Fox content.
Do you want a
That film is
computer
not
game?
going to be.
I would recommend a computer game.
The last one was pretty bad, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I can't in all I can't in good conscience say that Star Fox Zero was a good video game.
It's so annoying
Just
that
wait until
Miyamoto
they
was going
suddenly
on about
abruptly
how great
decide
the-
to make an F-Zero movie.
I couldn't hear what either of you were saying there. It was an over talk.
No, I was just saying how Miyamoto kept showing off the control scheme and how excited he was and all of that, and it's like that was a bit overblown.
It wasn't really the control screen as much as archers. That was why he was unnecessarily excited about archers. He's like, Star Fox is all about flying through archers. So we made a new game where you can fly through archers still. That's something that you did before.
Wow.
I mean, it's that thing you do in the first level.
Yeah, but there's other archers to fly under in that game. It's not just the first level.
I don't know if it's quite so archy, actually. I'm not sure the whole arch thing really pervades through Star Fox Zero that much. I think it's like there's more archways in Lilac Wars.
Probably, because that's quite easy to model.
More holes to fly through.
Okay, that's all we know. This Rogue One guy is not
He
going
wants
to
to do a
do a
Star
film.
Fox.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not really news, but it's not. And
Okay.
but Nintendo are giving out their licenses a bit. There's that. Don't forget, there's that Mario movie in the making.
What? Oh yeah.
Illumination Studios are working on something.
Maybe.
The Minion people.
Well, just because the Lego movie was good doesn't mean that this can be reproduced. I don't know.
As is shown by the Playmobil movie.
Yeah, well.
Angry Birds film apparently did quite well for itself.
But
Both
it wasn't
of them.
good.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't say I've seen it. But
Oh yeah, don't judge it until you watch it.
Exactly.
I'm holding out hope for that Sonic film, though.
Oh man.
It was quite funny walking out of the IMAX, like having just seen 1917 to be presented with a giant poster for Sonic.
I have to say
Contrast.
the more recent trailer does. I mean, the conspiracy theory is they made it terrible on purpose, right? So that then it
Yeah.
would look good when they fixed it.
I thought that like it was a crunch thing. Like they released the trailer, and I'm only on Twitter, but everyone on Twitter went crazy about how bad it was, and so the animators had to create a whole new thing in no amount of time.
But it looks way better.
It looks so much better, yeah. But there's like some of the complaints from the first one. Like I don't know, Zach and I have been watching quite a few of those Corridor Digital tear apart, VFX artists look at VFX shots and tell you why they're bad. And there's a specific complaint that they had about the color grading on Sonic's eyes, like why his eyes were more green than the world around him, which shouldn't be possible under normal lighting. And like there's
whatever.
details
It's a
like that
cartoon.
here and there where you think like, oh, that VFX probably wasn't finished yet.
Yeah,
Like it was
sure.
like a bit of a Cats thing going on.
Yeah,
So
but that
it's
wouldn't
like,
have
or
changed
maybe
the whole model.
no, but maybe it was like a half-done job, or maybe
Maybe,
it was
maybe.
planned to be this. Like they didn't put them effort in to make it that good. Or
No, that's not true.
I know it seems unlikely.
It's a classic internet conspiracy theory of whenever anything is extremely bad and they fix. It's like microtransactions where companies take them out, and it's just like that wasn't you doing a service. That was you realizing you'd fucked up and having to backtrack.
That was panic. Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have just had Yuji Naka on board. That's how you solve that problem. You make Sonic look like Sonic by getting the Sonic guy in.
One, and he's going to model it all by himself, is he?
Yes, yes he is.
He's not a Hollywood VFX guy. Anyway.
No, but he can at least tell them that it's like, no, that's bad Sonic.
Just their
I know
eyes
good
could have
Sonic.
told them that was bad Sonic.
Yeah.
Still a film about Sonic at the end of the day. It can't be good.
And Jim Carrey.
Yeah, and Jim Carrey.
Jim
That's the
Carrey.
important part.
Yeah, definitely can't be good. Right, actual video games. What's going on with delays?
Loads of them.
Unsurprisingly,
I got
this is
delays.
like everything that people said was going to come out in March obviously wasn't going to come out in March. That was just placeholder. And
Half-Life 3 isn't delayed though, is it? Or whatever it's called.
Half-Life Alex.
Well, I mean, they made a statement where they're like, it's not going to be delayed, but that doesn't.
Why'd they come out like
that doesn't mean anything.
Trust us. Why would they come out and say that unless they're nervous it's going to be delayed?
Valve sold out of indexes at the announcement.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah. You can't get hold of one anymore. At least for now.
but a bunch of other stuff did get delayed.
I've got delays for days, mate.
Go on then.
Let's start with a short one. Final Fantasy VII Remake has been delayed by 1 month.
That barely counts as a delay. That's more like this is now the actual release date, and we never really said what the date was before.
It's weird, yeah. When they're that short, it's a strange one, right? Because it makes you they put out a statement saying, "Oh, we needed to do a little bit more polish on it," and it's like, no, what you really mean is you found a game-breaking bug that you really needed to fix before it went out the door.
Remind me how far into the story this bit goes.
It's supposedly all of the
Midgar.
city section, all of the Midgar stuff.
Okay. How much of that of the game is that like?
Not much.
No. It's like you can do it in about 2 to 3 hours in the real one.
Christ.
But it is like a whole disc in the real game as well. There's a lot of content.
True,
but the world is quite sparse in the rest of the game. Arguably.
So do you think they're going to flesh out this game? I mean, it was already huge.
Oh,
Are they going to Okay.
They've already shown that they've changed a bunch of stuff, and it's all like got extra stuff that wasn't there before. Even
there's a whole lot more flashback
The story
cutscenes.
is so confusing. They'll probably make it more easy to know what's happening.
Well, I mean, I guess if they wanted it to be kind of more standalone, they had to put some of the flashback stuff in the first game.
Yeah.
Not because it happens immediately after that in the real game when you go to the town calm, the town immediately outside Midgar, and then hella Nibelheim flashbacks.
No, yeah.
So put some of that in the first part of this game.
Yeah, I suppose they could. Sephiroth in fire and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They've shown that, and it's like you didn't really see any or like hardly any Sephiroth action.
Well, no, but that's what happens when they get the car. And he's like, "Let me tell you about Sephiroth," and then 2 hours of the flashbacks.
Yeah.
Exposition dump.
Well, there's already more. There's some of the vocal stuff, like some of the speech, some of the conversations. That's the word I was looking for. Some of the conversations that they've already shown us are things that weren't in the game. There's supposedly a more explicit kind of. Who is it? The sort of the lady in Avalanche, like expressing an interest in clouds, like that's supposedly like blown up.
They've sort of basically extended the Avalanche part to be slightly more like actual characters, rather than just people who die immediately.
Yeah, so all of the members will have way more of a role, supposedly.
And then they die.
Yeah, if that means there's actually any extra gameplay, that's the bit that no one really knows at this point. It's like, are the bits you're playing still the same bits, or are these all just cutscene things?
Well, the question is like, how much more fighting are they going to put in? Because really, that whole start of the game there's a lot of just walking around.
I mean, the train yard, I remember being like the point where I was just like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like, that was the point where I think the real nature of an RPG set in, because I hadn't really played one up until FF7, right? This whole wander around and getting to a random fight thing was kind of
right.
It was kind of a weird new concept.
It's true. In 1997, I hadn't even played Pokemon. I don't think, or same year, I guess.
No, I guess not. Yeah, and. So you're getting to that train graveyard and you're wandering around and just getting into fight after fight after fight where you try and work your way through this maze, and that actually turned me off like the genre for quite a while. Like I sort of played that bit and was all like, I don't get it. Like that did damage to me.
Well, that train graveyard does just suck.
Yeah,
as a segment of that game.
Well,
you just come through the sewers. That had a bunch of random fights in as well.
I know, but
I mean, maybe that was the problem. It was one really long sequence where you were just like not being able to like not be in fights.
Yeah, there's just something about it. That was where I stopped the first time I started playing it. That was my like, I'm not doing this anymore of this. And then FF8 came along and was one of my favorite games of all time. It's weird like that. Yeah.
Okay, so that's delayed. But by 1 month.
But only
that's fine.
What April 10th. It was March 3rd, so my birthday's ruined.
Ruined.
Square have also delayed the Avengers game.
Who cares?
By 4 months. Yeah, so that's gone from May to September. Probably to make it good.
Doubtful.
Doubtful.
Dying Light 2, which we've seen for a couple of E3s now, has been delayed for some indefinite period of time. In fairness, they'd only committed to saying spring of this year, so they hadn't put a hard date down at least. But yeah, they're not sure when that's going to be finished, which is slightly worrying, but also kind of reminiscent, right? This is Techland, and it's like their other project, Dead Island. Like Dead Island 2 didn't exactly go well for whoever picked that up, so maybe they've got Valve's thing for 3s, but with 2s.
Mm.
Anyway, it's not a game I'd probably play anyway. And of course, the biggie is Cyberpunk.
Right.
Not making its March date.
Which always seemed kind of ridiculous.
Did it? It's been in development for so long, though.
Yeah, but even then, when they were just like that, when they did the big thing at E3 and they were like, "It's coming out in March," you were like, "Really? That seems quite soon after this. After you're just now really showing it for real."
And because
And for such a huge-ass game.
Yeah. Presumably it'll be massive.
Oh yeah, it definitely looks like it's gonna have an absurd amount of content and detail, and
That's what we
Yeah.
like.
but this announcement has come with some controversy because it sounds like ahead of this announcement, the staff were already entering crunch time, and they've basically come out and like when questioned about this, it's like, what does this mean about your crunch? They've pretty much come out and said, yeah, we're probably going to be crunching for quite a lot of this. So that sucks. It's like, that's an epic crunch. Like in an industry that's like desperately trying to, or the pressure from external forces is to try and make crunch not a thing because it seems to be bad for everyone involved.
Mm.
And then, this beloved developer effectively turning around and going, yeah, no, we're just doing it.
There have been rumours that they're not very nice to work for. But
No
then
one's
who
actually
is?
done
Yeah.
anything about crunch yet, though.
Well, no. I hate to think what a Fortnite farm's like at the moment.
God.
Mm,
Well,
God.
it would have been worse like a few months ago when they were making that new map, right? That would have been the hell crunch of Fortnite. Not just regular weekly update content, it's a whole new thing.
They crank stuff out so fast. Yeah, so it's a bit of a,
Where are they? I know they're in Poland. Where are they? CD Projekt Red? Are they in like Warsaw or something?
Don't know. Honestly. But yeah, that's a bit of a shame. But, that game will still be rad.
Well, let's just hope they don't kill themselves trying to make it.
Yeah. Well, and also let's think, like, a lot of these delays are like, well, Avengers and Dying and Cyberpunk, at least, those two are being pushed into kind of next-gen territory, right?
Yeah, I guess.
You mean cross-gen?
Yeah, they'll be cross-gen, of
yeah.
course, but that's... Like, Cyberpunk in particular seems like one of those games where if you've seen it, like, any of that footage, it's just like, I'm not sure that could run well on the current gen of hardware.
Yeah, well, even like an Xbox One X or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm questioning whether my PC will be able to run it acceptably.
What? You've got like a monster, haven't you?
Well, I mean, it's 1080. It's not a 2080 machine, but I'm still sat there. I'm looking at that footage and the quality of it, sort of sitting there going, I don't know if that's going to hold up.
You'll actually have to turn graphics down. That's the thing that you haven't done for a long time.
I don't know. There are a few things where I have to turn it down now, but
Okay, we'll see how. I mean, optimized they managed to make it. You see, I think they've learned a lot of lessons from Witcher 3 and previous Witcher games, which were like not optimized for consoles. I think they've done it from the start now.
Witcher 3 launched in actually quite a nasty place, really. In terms
And now
of
they got it running on the
bugginess.
Switch, although I'm sure it's cut down massively. But still, that just
But it
shows,
can.
doesn't it? Yeah, they must be a bit better at the old scaling stuff now.
Yeah, let's hope. I want to see all of those bristles in Keanu's beard.
Yeah.
Take it all in.
You're breathtaking. That was so good. What? It just occurred to me. What's happened to Beyond and Evil? Classic question.
They haven't really said anything about it.
No.
They specifically didn't say anything about it at the last E3.
No,
right? They were
it's
like,
been-
we're not going to talk about it at this E3. Stop asking.
They've been they did a couple of dev diary things, like sort of around that time. It's like it's not going. They showed some of their stuff, like some of the combat and things like that, and a lot more art. They were showing what that community project is doing, adding to the game and things like that. So they've been showing off that. But you're right. Yeah, we haven't seen a huge amount of what the actual game of Beyond Good and Evil 2 really is. I mean, I'm still super hype.
Really?
Yeah, man. I love that first game, and I should have talked about it in a Good Game special. I realize
should have done. Yeah,
but because the first one, the PS2 one, is fantastic.
But this game isn't even going to be like that.
Well, yeah, this game might not be anything like that, but the I'm already taken by, even though that opening trailer they did with the monkeys and the gold and the space and potential evil Jade. It's like, oh no, this, or Jade's mum, I assume, something like that. Prequels. Where do the aliens factor into this? Oh, no one knows. Could be cool. Does someone have a Spanish bag? I'm hype. Join me on my hype train. Woo woo. No one's going to stop me. All right, let's carry on.
You're on the hype train. Okay. Okay. What other news we got? Is that?
We've got, talking about that vague E3 stuff, or on that subject, tiny bit of news to say that Sony are probably not going to be there again.
Yeah.
Taking another year off. But this is a kind of a weird year for that decision, though, right? Because this is new console year.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they've realised what Nintendo realised: just do your own thing.
Nintendo still have a booth, though, right? They show up.
Sure, I guess. But that's, in Nintendo's case, that's almost more important because they need to. A lot of Nintendo stuff relies on physical interaction, even on the Switch.
I suppose it might have been. Did they have Ring Fit at E3 last year? Was that too early?
That was afterwards. Yeah. Long afterwards.
I suppose, but they're not pushing the motion control agenda quite so much these days.
No, but it's still a thing that you need to experience physically in some ways.
Don't get it, man. We weren't there. Yeah, Microsoft are definitely going to be there because, of course, they are, because they've got the Microsoft Theatre just around the corner.
Right.
So why not? So presumably that's where we're going to
get ready for
Series X for real.
Presumably all the rest of them are still going to turn up. EA and Ubisoft and Square, even possibly.
Yeah, but EA only half turned up last year, right? They had a rubbish show.
Yeah, but they I guess they don't really necessarily turn up at E3. They just turn up adjacent to E3 and do their own thing.
Yeah,
and then it's bad.
Ubisoft do a decent show, so they'll still be there. We'll probably get Square in. Probably talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake DLC.
Probably.
Which sounds like the absolute worst thing they could do, but I'm not. I fully believe that Square will do something like that.
Well, as long as it's not like fishing or something.
Wasn't that VR DLC for Final Fantasy 15? Yes. Yeah. So that's that. Ninty have got a couple of little things. They were taken to court for bad practices in their eShop, because supposedly once you've made a pre-order you can't cancel it, and so some people, I can't remember who, considered that illegal against EU regulations. However, German courts have now ruled that nope, that's totally allowed as long as you explicitly put in your terms and conditions that that's how it's going to work. That's totally legal and fine. So be careful if you're pre-ordering on Switch, I guess.
Right.
No backsies. I didn't realize that was a thing. Who pre-orders? Who pre-orders in the digital age? It's such a weird
I
thing.
don't get it, because you don't have to make sure you have that disc on the first day. So who cares?
And even if you are buying a physical disc, you just order it off Amazon in most cases and get it like one day later anyway. It's like it barely makes a difference.
Although it was very cool for Red Dead Redemption 2 that I could pre-order it digitally and I could download it and install it. I think.
Yeah, I suppose that is nice.
And then
Yeah,
it
if you're doing
unlocked.
Well, now
digital.
we're in
cool.
the days of like 150 gigs of install.
Yeah, it was
fucking
massive.
Lots
Yeah.
of preloading going on there.
I mean, I had the disc copy of Red Dead, and it's like, and I did pre-order, and the only thing I got for it was a steelbook. So I've got a little Red Dead steelbook, but like, it's still, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if installing off the disc was any quicker than downloading it, honestly,
No.
because it still had
Yeah,
to download
exactly.
a massive patch after installation.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking gigantic. But I mean, it shows in that game. I mean, how
Sure.
much is in that well? It's just ridiculous. Anyway,
Are we going to have the Red Dead versus Cyberpunk content off?
probably.
Which is
Probably
bigger?
still would be
Who
more
has the
content
bigger
in
install?
Red Dead, I would say. But I would guess. But it's hard to say, isn't it, actually?
Yeah, who knows?
Man, I don't know.
Both big
Cyberpunk
open
really.
world games.
Cyberpunk can't be. I know it's massive, but it can't be as big. Like it can't. It can't be as big as Red Dead, right? Surely.
I
Like, I
think in
don't
terms
mean-
of land mass, I'm not sure
Yeah.
it will be.
I mean, in
'cause you
terms
can't
of,
get
like-
away with huge amounts of wilderness.
I mean, in
That
terms
was-
of like overall budget or whatever. Like for the I don't know.
Probably not.
Probably
right?
not,
But
yeah.
the budget side probably can't be as big. But
Yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter. Not important. It'll
don't
be
even
huge.
matter. Sticking with Ninty then. That last Smash Brothers character was announced,
Yeah.
much to everyone's chagrin.
Yep. Pretty much.
Yeah, it's a Fire Emblem character.
Did
God
you see?
damn
did
it.
did you see that donkey video where
I haven't, no.
where it announces like 30 different Fire Emblem characters?
Is
I mean, how many are there now?
I think it's 11.
What?
it really that many?
Or is it 9 and Mario is 11? One of those.
What?
Well, then just list them off. It's Robin and Crom and Roy and Marth and Corin and Byleth. I read out Ike.
Oh, yeah.
So that's 7 that I can
7.
remember immediately.
Are they counting the like other gender
old
versions
versions,
as
yeah.
well?
Like old Ike.
Oh, yeah. Vintage. I keep forgetting Crom's. Is Crom a character?
Yes.
Who's
Crom.
playable?
How do you forget? Crom's the better one. The one you always forget is Corin. Because you kind of forget that that's a Fire Emblem character because it's slightly unusual.
Corin. Which is the one with the lance?
Yes.
Is that Corin?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, technically a lance, not really a
What does
lance.
Crom do?
Crom's the one where it mashes all the mechanics together. It has the Ike up B, has the Marth side B, has the Roy charge B.
So he's the laziest character.
No, he's the one Fire Emblem character that should be in the game because he gets rid of you. Basically, if Smash Ultimate wasn't Ultimate, you only need Robin, Crom, and Byleth, I guess now, because Crom is basically Marth, Roy, and Ike all together in one. All the good mechanics of those characters mashed into one.
Oh yeah, Roy and Ike are two different people. Oh god, yes. They're basically the same.
No, it's Roy and Marth that are basically the same. Ike's actually quite different because he's the slow, fat one.
I thought Roy and Ike are both slow and fat.
Well, Roy is slower than Marth, but he still has the same moveset style as Marth, with the multi-slash attacks and all that stuff.
Too many Fire Emblem
Well,
characters.
yes, that's basically what we're... Even Rob doesn't remember the differences between them.
God damn it.
I like Ike.
Yep, that's all.
I know,
That's the other reason to keep Ike for the memes.
No, there-
The memes.
I know Sakurai's a Fire Emblem fan himself, hence why there's so many characters, and he wanted to celebrate 3 houses, and it makes sense from a Nintendo-y kind of thing. But hey, you do one of these characters like in the middle of your season,
Yes,
right?
exactly. That's the
You
main problem with this is that it's the last one of this first set.
You don't end on a ugh. And he must have known going into it that it was going to be a.
Well, the
ugh.
thing is, like, I don't. When they at the start of this the video where he announces it and talks about it, he like additionally hypes it up before you know what character it is. He's like, "We've been working in this in the utmost secrecy. Not even virtually anyone in Nintendo knows what this character is." And it's just like, "Oh, this sounds good." And he's like, "As soon as you see the start of this video, you'll know who it is just by the look of it." And it's like, "Well, yeah, you will if you play Fire Emblem, I guess." But it's like you can't hype it up more.
No, it's not. There is no part of this that's hype.
And then even in that in the character announcement video, they joke about the thing which is everyone was pissed off about, where they're like, "Oh, there's too many swordsmen,"
Yeah.
and it's just like,
Well, he's
I mean,
not a
that is-
swordsman. He's got other weapons that work the same way as swords.
Well, I
pretty
did kind of find it funny where it's like the sophist or whatever is like, "There's too many swordmen. What are you going to do?" And he just becomes a woman. It's like, "Oh, you're a sword woman." Problem solved. It's like, that's funny.
much. We've already got one of those, haven't we?
Oh, Lucina, I guess. Oh,
Yeah.
that's another Fire Emblem
Oh,
character.
yeah,
we
we
forgot. There you go.
Don't forget, there's always one more.
So yeah, that was like
I mean-
they made the joke about there being too many swords, and it's like, oh, he uses different weapons, but they all basically you swing them mostly like swords. They just have different reaches. I
suppose
guess.
there were some odd mechanics and some differences in how you actually do the swings, like how the specials are. I mean, it's the same inputs, but still,
Yeah,
like
so-
how they behave is a little odd at times. But and sword super armor, I hate that mechanic. But I don't know. Yeah, it's just it fell very flat, and most of the internet agrees.
It just should have been the middle character, or the first one even.
Yeah, maybe.
They got it out of the way right at the start. Everyone would be like, "Well, that kind of." I think maybe that would have been too far. But
Yeah,
everyone
that
would have been
might
like, "That sucks," but then once you got the second character and it was Joker, it's like, "Oh, what a turnaround!" But like in the middle would have been the best. solution,
I
probably.
think you would have had to have done it second or third would have been all right, because if you did it first, it would have been like, oh, that's put up a bad taste. I don't want to buy the season
Yeah.
pass now.
That's the problem.
But
But then also you think about putting it at the end when everyone is already committed to the season pass.
I'd say that stage looked interesting because it's got the
Not
little
really, though.
ridges, right? Just before, like everyone's like on flat plane, but it's got like a little where the shops
the
were.
shop stalls.
It's like
and
they
the
put a little
in the
blocker
first
in.
area.
Yeah, so you're not quite going off the stage so easily.
But then
Maybe.
it turns into a regular flat stage every other part of it.
Yeah,
Slightly disappointing.
because it's a transforming stage.
That was kind of unnecessary, I think, as always. But if you want to show off multiple parts of this environment, I guess you have to have it fly around.
Just do multiple stages. Have them separate. That's fine.
You can't waste time doing that, even though you've wasted time doing all this extra modelling anyway.
You have to do the transitions. That's more work.
Yeah. But
Who's
that-
looking forward to season 2?
Well, yeah, they announced season 2 is going to have 6 characters, which again made everyone extra suspicious. Where it's just like, did they actually push whatever character was going to be last into season 2, which is why there's an extra one now, just to put Byleth in the end of the first one?
I mean, maybe.
But probably not, because it's
Probably
also planned miles ahead.
Yeah.
Even this video was like recorded many months in advance.
Well, it's like when you're thinking about like, okay, how did they pull off the whole like, oh, even Nintendo didn't know what we were working on, and it's like, well, yeah, Nintendo didn't have to know because it was a Nintendo property,
Well,
right? No one would have had to have done that deal with Namco or whatever.
yeah,
to,
I guess, but
to bring in Dig Dug for Smash.
and there's already been
You gotta have Dig Dug.
another rumor of Paper Mario being the next character.
Oh, okay, that could be interesting. I'm on board for that.
Yeah, but it's like
I mean,
those,
it's a Mario, but
those kind of rumors are always just like, I mean, he's been rumored for or wanted for ages, so it's not really that surprising or anything, and it's probably not a true rumor.
you could turn into a paper airplane.
Speaking of rumors about Paper Mario, there's been a rumor that Nintendo is going to announce a Paper Mario game this year.
Oh, so who's developing it?
Yep, that's the question. And also, in that same rumor, there's a rumor that Nintendo are going to announce a non-Metroid Prime 4 Metroid game this year,
Oh no.
which supposedly might be a sequel to Fusion.
Okay, that's more of an uplift because
Yeah.
like as long as it's not another one of those. What was that skanky one on the DS? Like
What, Hunters?
no, not Hunters. No, oh, sorry, more recent than that. Like there was a co-op one, wasn't there? Like 4-player.
Oh, Federation Force.
Yeah.
That's not actually a Metroid game.
But it's got the Metroid tag on it.
Yep.
The Fusion was alright. It's a sort of series favorite for a lot of people.
Yeah, but what does that even imply? They're going to make a new 2D Metroid game, I guess.
Yeah.
Or they just remake Fusion like they did with 2. I
Oh,
guess.
maybe. Yeah. But 2 was a good one to remake because it was on the Game Boy, right?
Oh, sure.
So
But Fusion was only on the GBA.
yeah, but it's always had fairly nice. I mean, it looks good, right? Because it had 16-bitness.
I guess.
16-bitness.
And in related, going back to the Smash Bros. For a minute, they announced some more Mii Fighter skins.
No.
Yep.
That you have to pay for separately.
Yep. But they were pretty funny. because obviously Cuphead is the one that everyone cares about.
Wait, what?
Because that was pretty cool.
Oh, that's badass.
They've just done it like Sans, just with like it doesn't even look like a Mii any longer.
Okay, yeah,
It is just an overwritten skin.
that's actually pretty cool.
But then the weirder ones, I mean, they had like 2 more fucking Mega Mans because they're still putting every Mega Man skin in as a Mii Fighter costume.
Actually, I say it's pretty cool, but like that means Cuphead can't be a real character, right? That's that rule.
Oh, right, yeah.
But then they also Ubisoft is apparently in now because you've got the Rabbids hat, which looks about as dumb as you would imagine it does. The big goddamn rabbit face stuck around your head. But then the other one was
Rayman for Smash.
Yes, always. But they've also put in Altair as a costume.
Oh,
So like the just classic Assassin's white robe.
hood. Yeah.
But when they announced it, and I didn't realize. I'm sure this must be the reason, but I didn't even I was really confused. But when they announced it, because they do the thing where it's like Smash Brothers X brand,
Yeah. Cross.
so it's like Smash Brothers X Rabbids.
Cross.
But then
It's cross,
the-
yeah.
but then the one for
Don't know where that
what
comes
you would
from.
expect. What you would expect was Smash Brothers and Assassin's Creed, right?
I guess, yeah.
But no, because the suspicion is that Nintendo are not allowed to say assassin because it's too violent.
Yeah. I mean,
So all it actually said was Smash Bros. And Altair.
Okay.
That's not the name of that game in any way, but okay.
They could have just said add the Ubisoft.
Yeah, or something. That was weird.
They'll bring in that guy from Watch Dogs' iconic hat.
No, it's trench coat. Also the trench coat.
you talk
But
about
yeah, I guess
Rorschach.
maybe Ubisoft are already done with their crossover potential. Maybe we won't be getting Rayman.
No, not Watchmen, Dan. Watch Dogs.
Oh, sorry. I don't care about Watch Dogs.
Do you remember that? Remember there was that whole thing about how they just Aiden, that's his name, isn't it? Aiden
Oh,
Pierce
God.
or something.
Wow.
They had that
With his
thing where it's like
classic
you could.
baseball cap.
I think it was a pre-order bonus for the first Watch Dogs that you could get. Yeah, you could get his. It was the word iconic.
Iconic.
You
Yeah,
can get his
so
iconic baseball cap for a game that hasn't come out yet.
with
They
the
did
most
same thing with the
forgettable
Deus Ex
character.
trench coat.
What? Oh, right, yeah, but that was they had fashion designers and stuff going crazy on that game, didn't they? The Deus Ex Human Revolution, right? It was all about the clothes and the weird ceilings.
All about them ceilings.
Yeah, this whole article's just on the ceilings in that game.
Good ceilings. Excellent plastering.
Nearly all the news, except not quite, because Dan mentioned something that caused me to remember it.
Oh,
Rocket
that?
League is ending support for Mac and Linux.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I did see that.
right. Well, okay, that's weird.
Which is weird.
Specific, call out SteamOS as well, being in one of those. It's like, and
I mean,
Linux
that's
SteamOS. Yeah.
But
Glory
what
days are
engine
over,
updates
guys.
could they possibly be doing that requires them to drop support at this point?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's Unreal Engine, right? And Unreal Engine is properly cross-platform, and they're owned by Epic. So it's like, what message are you bringing here? Or maybe it means, I think realistically, what might actually be happening is that I think Psyonix's dev may be splintering, and that they're probably going to be supporting Rocket League whilst they're starting work on something else. And in order to save resource, they've decided to kill off a couple of platforms from their list.
Maybe.
That's
Could
my
be.
theory.
It's a bit weird.
Because it's been Rocket League's been out ages, right? They must be having to now think of the next project.
I mean, it's been out for ages, and you wouldn't have thought that you'd need to do much engine work at this point.
Yeah, that was what they cited, wasn't it? They said it was it's new, because of the new features we're trying to add to it. Hey, these platforms, we can't support them all.
And it's not like networking engine features either, anything to do with Rocket ID or anything. That might have seemed like a struggle, but that's not related to platform. That's like a back end. So it's something to do with literally the game engine.
The good news is that if you have a PC, and you bought it for Mac and Linux, it's like if you
Yeah,
Steam,
yeah.
right? So you can still
Yeah,
play
you
it
got
on,
it, yeah.
on a PC, which is fine.
Yeah.
What have any of us actually ever gamed on a Mac? Like,
Well,
is it
I play.
good?
I've got like Into the Breach or whatever on my Mac.
I played
you know,
Team
through
Fortress 2
Steam,
on the Mac
which
at
is
one
fine.
point when my PC was broken. Which is why I've got the Mac earbuds on in my inventory.
Oh, right, you've got them. Excellent.
The hella expensive Mac earbuds that you can theoretically trade for a lot of keys.
Yeah, I heard again that Apple were going to get back into games or whatever on Mac at some point, but I can't remember what the rumor was. But yeah, we'll see. They never seem to try that hard.
I mean, does Apple Arcade? Isn't that
Yeah,
launching
something. Yeah,
Mac?
with that. Yeah, probably with that. Yeah.
But those aren't like graphic. Are those games? Well, I suppose they are more console-y games, isn't it? That's the whole point in Apple Arcade. It's that they can be controlled.
Yeah. I think that's the idea. I mean, they're in quite a good position to have another crack at it now, especially with the graphics. What do you call it? You know, OpenGL, etc., or whatever, Metal, all the APIs. Basically, not you don't have to have DirectX to game.
Sure.
Yeah, that's changed. It's from the past.
Well, yeah. Like if you're PlayStation is OpenGL variant,
exactly.
So it's
Vulkan and all that.
Building like that. Yeah.
So we'll see.
Is that news?
I think that might be news.
News.
It's time for what you've been playing. Who should we? Let's see. Laura's taking a break, so let's start with Zach. What have you been playing?
I've been playing so much stuff.
Oh
shit.
boy, settle in.
Settle in, boys.
I mean, there
Okay.
might not be that much to talk about. A lot of them. I've just been playing a lot of them.
Okay,
All
cool.
right.
That's the thing. I did, like I said last podcast, I was like, I'm in a mood where I've actually started playing different things and not being indecisive or whatever. I mean, I guess playing lots of things is kind of indecisive in a different way, but
It depends what you've been playing.
Oh.
Then we can judge.
well, I mean, it's all stuff that I've played before.
No.
So some, but it's not time for new games yet. Even though there's another Steam sale going on right now. I finished my rerun through Subnautica and got those last achievements that now work.
Yay.
So I'm 100% of that game. Good. Done.
Good.
Wait for the DLC, or not really DLC any longer.
Any news on that?
No, they're still working on it.
Okay.
Not really anything specific. I went back to Rise to Ruins again and started a new save file on that because I hadn't played it since they went into release.
Oh, okay. Right.
Although, by the sounds of what they say is going to be coming up in the next few patches and the things they said before release, it's like it's really kind of a generic, like, I'm just calling this 1.0, but it's not really going to change anything kind of release.
We're still working on it.
Yeah, we're still making quite significant changes even to like the game mechanics. So, not really that much has changed there. It's still the same game, more or less. It's slightly, there've been some balance changes to like how food works and such to make it. But they introduced a bunch of systems for working with animals, where like wild animals can spawn on the map and you can use them to get food. But now you have to get them to get food because now what used to be rations were just like an upgraded version of food, where you just take raw vegetables, turn them into rations, and it just made them better. But now
I'm pretty sure anyone who's eaten rations would probably tell you that's not how that works.
No. But now rations are a combination of vegetables and meat. So you have to do both parts of the farming to actually make the rations and therefore benefit from the rations, which makes more sense. It's an advantage that you have to earn. Not just a weird one-step process that just makes it better.
Some kind of infusion.
Yes. So there's that. I also very briefly went back to Forager because there was a fairly big patch for that. Although it was a kind of late game patch, so I didn't see it because I started over again. And that game is pretty much the same as it's always been. And I was immediately like, oh yeah, there's the Forager jiggle that I was talking about on our Game of the Year podcast. The way everything jiggles in time.
Oh, right.
It's very rhythmic and kind of distracting.
Just have to imagine they're all in the back of a car listening to What Is Love.
Yes. And then it crashed when I opened a chest. So, and then I was like, did I get the thing that was meant to go out of that chest? I can't see it. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll stop. That's kind of off-putting. I played some more Wizards of Legend.
Okay.
Continuing on from our YouTube videos.
Did you do a second? No, there's one video, right?
There's two videos.
There
There's
is
two
a second
videos.
video coming. It's ready to go up, but I just haven't put it up yet.
Yes, so I continued with that and unlocked a bunch more actual skills. Started trying to build a slightly more effective character, and I actually got to the last boss. Still haven't beaten it, but I've seen it now. Had a couple of good runs where I was like, oh yeah, I've got a full rack of skills and I can pretty much just push all the buttons and just dump damage. And it's fine.
That's one of the nicest things about that control scheme. You can kind of like, it's clench friendly.
Yeah,
because I can just go blah.
I'll hit all the buttons. But yeah, I made it to the last boss, but then I feel like I kind of threw that run away a little bit because I like got to the first the first part of the last boss, and obviously there was going to be multiple parts because that's just that's what you do. That's how bosses work.
Yeah.
But then so I got hit quite a bit in the first part, but not that much. But then I kind of got like overconfident, I guess, because I was like, this guy isn't even doing that much damage to me, and these attacks aren't that difficult, and I'm just completely churning through his health real quick. So then when it went to stage 2, I was just like, I'm totally unprepared for this, and then he just completely destroyed me. Because it turns into like an actual wizard fight, like how we did in the multiplayer, where you have the fight at the end of the boss battle. It basically is that, except he has all the skills.
Interesting.
So you're just like, it suddenly goes from like he's a stationary turret and you're avoiding his attacks and then beating on him to now he's dashing around all over the place, firing off magic constantly. So it was like quite an abrupt thing, and then I just wasn't prepared. Then I died immediately. But it doesn't seem too bad. You just have to get the stuns in, I guess. Same as usual. Hit him once to lock him down and then just unload everything.
Yep. Combo.
Yes. So I might actually manage to finish that game, I guess.
That game's alright.
Yeah, it's alright. I still haven't actually seen the fucking new level. I haven't even seen the lightning level yet. In all these additional runs I've done.
Do you reckon it's something that unlocks when you finish
No,
it?
I don't think so. The new boss is apparently a 2-person. It's a twins.
Oh.
But I haven't seen it, so I don't know. Don't know how that works. So that I went back to Kerbal, do Kerbal Space Program again. This time I didn't start over. I just loaded whatever my most recent save was, which was not that far in, but it got through the starting grind, I guess.
But do you just do like the campaign or whatever effectively now?
Yeah.
It just gives you goals along the way.
Yes, and this save file that I'd loaded, I just got to the point of like moon landings and stuff. So I was like, oh yeah, I can continue with that and actually do the moon landings with some problems. And they still haven't really balanced it that well. Like, it tells you to do moon landings. Well, for a start, it tells you to do moon landings before docking procedures, which is like, that's kind of ridiculous. And you also, by the point where it tells you to do moon landings, you probably don't have the research done for a lot of the useful stuff for moon landings. Like maybe even landing legs or RCS.
Oh. You need RCS is like the solution to everything in that game, isn't it?
Actually, I find when I did the moon landings, I found I didn't need it nearly as much. Because I've now that you can, if you have a pilot, you can set them to hold retrograde. That makes it real easy to do vertical landings because you just use the engine, and because it's always facing retrograde, it's cancelling your horizontal momentum while angling the ship downwards. So you don't have, because the way I used to do it obviously was just stop, fall straight down, and then use the RCS to control the drift. But now you can do it with the actual engines much easier.
Because the pilot will adjust the angle as you descend.
Yeah, the pilot just holds the direction to exactly the opposite to your momentum.
You
can just adjust your thrust to gradually kill the speed off.
But isn't that like playing the game for you? Oh, anyway, never mind.
I mean, one of the classic mods was basically that.
Okay,
And you do still have to earn that. You have to level up your pilot.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Although that is only level 1 pilots that will do that, so it's not exactly difficult. But now I've reached the point where I'm like, I need to get this guy to level 2 so he can do fucking point towards maneuver. That's the one I really want.
What is that? You just set a point and he'll.
Well, when you
towards
plotted the maneuver nodes, and it creates that blue marker on the nav ball, you can just set them to automatically point towards that, and that's way more useful. So yeah, I played some more of that, and I did eventually get to try out a little bit of the DLC stuff that I have. The weird, like, ground-based experiments where you just like deploy little mini experiment things, and they gradually transmit science over time. Not very interesting, but it's another way to get science. Whether that was worth the DLC, I don't know.
Presumably that stuff you have to try and load on and deliver to planets and things later.
Yeah, but it's not actually very complicated. It's like you have a specific cargo bay piece, and then you just basically select the bits and put them in there. And when you're on the planet, you just right-click on it with a kernel, and they have a one slot in their inventory that you just drag stuff into. It's like it doesn't physically exist until you place it into the world, basically.
Right.
So that was Kerbal. We went. I've been playing the 1.4 patch of a game.
A game
of a game.
Can you guess what it is? Because
1.4.
Yep, 1.4.
Is it Factorio?
No,
because that's not 1 yet.
Well, that's one. That's.
Is it 1?
0.18.
0.18. Oh right.
Not 1.4.
1.4. Oh yes, I think I saw you playing it today. No Man's Sky.
No, that's not AI.
Oh, bugger.
Damn it, this joke hasn't worked at all, because the point was that I've been playing a 1.4 patch of a game, which isn't Terraria, because that 1.4 patch still isn't fucking out!
Right, okay. I forgot that was a 1.4.
God damn it. I've been playing the 1.4 patch of Stardew Valley.
Oh, right.
Because that has come out.
What's in it?
Mostly late game stuff again, so again, haven't really seen it that much. There's a new, you can build ponds to breed fish on the farm. So instead of just having to fish for fish, you can, I mean, presumably you still have to catch at least one of the type you want to breed, but
you can farm for fish.
You can farm them. And there's a few other late game things, like after you finish the community center, there's like another step after that to like renovate the abandoned supermarket thing that you put out of business by rebuilding the community center. That's the whole thing. It's the whole thing about Stardew anyway.
Spoiler alert.
And a few extra like mini quality of life things that we haven't necessarily. The trouble is that I'm playing it multiplayer again, but there's been a lot of cases where we just don't remember what it was like. Like, what did this work like this before? I don't remember. When was the last time we played? When was the last time I played by myself? Was it the time when we played with the multiplayer mod that it worked like this and not the official multiplayer? We don't really remember. But yeah, we've been grinding a little bit into that. We haven't really got that far. But then, yeah, as Rob said, I've also been playing No Man's Sky, and that may turn into a multiplayer game of that as well.
Which now that it can be
multiplayer. That's not exactly a recent now, but yes.
Is it still orbs, or are they?
No, they fixed that ages ago.
Oh, okay.
It's actual multiplayer. So yeah, that may become a multiplayer thing at some point. But the trouble with, like, I had remembered this about No Man's Sky is like there's quite a lot of stuff you have to get through before the point where you can, trigger multiplayer.
Right.
And even now I'm not entirely sure how you do it. I think you have to find a portal, and then it's like a Stargate. You have to dial in the right combination for the other person's portal. So both people have to find a portal, I guess.
Right, yeah.
But
that's
that's
kind of an interesting way of doing it.
Yeah. But then I'm not even sure what happens. Like, what you can walk through the portal because it's on a planet, but what about your ships? Or your fleet?
Oh, right.
I think probably I assume that they're just going to do it the cheap way that they've sometimes done it. I think it worked like this in some other cases where your ship just appears. Like, you go through your portal and your ship is just there. And, like, the fleet you can just call from anywhere, basically, and they'll just even though that doesn't make any sense because they have to warp.
They'll trundle across half the galaxy.
Yeah, they just appear instantly. So I assume that will still work like that. But yeah, we may go into that in multiplayer. I don't know. It's the base buildings that only. I mean, it's like, what do you even want to do in multiplayer? It's the base buildings.
What's the goal for you in No Man's Sky now? Like, you're not still like center of the universing.
Well, I mean, that is theoretically the goal of like the story, or one of the parts of the story, I suppose. There's quite a lot of other. I mean, the thing about the story, the three parts of the story is there's like these three stories that sort of interlink, and it all comes back to the same thing. So one of them is more or less just going to certain locations, where it's just like, you've got this radio message that tells you to go here, and then when you get there, the guy isn't there, mysterious. And then you go to the next place, and that's sort of that storyline. Then you've got the anomaly storyline where you start to find out like why the universe is fucked up, like why all the NPC races kind of suck and don't really do anything. And it's
right.
It basically is because the whole thing is a simulation, and you're like an anomaly in the system.
Oh god, it's Elon Musk's dream.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then you're like that kind of revolves around just exploring. That's just like, because you get these like in-game achievements for, you know, scanning things and earning money and walking a certain distance. Those then basically progress you through that story. So you just have to do stuff, generic stuff, and that's sort of how you progress that. And then there's the third storyline about the Atlas, which it sort of really is a sub part of the anomaly storyline, because you find out the Atlas is basically like the computer that's running the simulation of the universe, and it's fucked up, and you're like, why is that fucked up? Maybe that explains why the universe is fucked up. And I'm not even sure really how you progress that. I think it is just tied to the main anomaly story.
I think I like the game less now that I know that.
Well, whatever other story could you possibly tell?
I don't know. One about going to a lot of stations that aren't owned by people, but they have an arrangement with the people that do.
I mean, no one owns the stations in No Man's Sky, as far as we can tell. Whatever race owns the star system just lives there. Sometimes. And since I last played No Man's Sky, there has been a few updates. NPCs can actually move around.
What?
Holy shit.
Wow.
They're not just sat behind a desk.
No, they can actually walk, and like sometimes on planets they can actually be outside.
Outrage.
They can go out of their little mini buildings and interact with other random shit in the scenery.
Don't you desecrate my planets with your filthy footsteps. NPC scum.
Although, you know, that doesn't make much sense when it's like a toxic nightmare or whatever like some of those planets are. Actually, I don't know if I did see a guy go outside on a cold planet, which for you is a environmental thing that you have to worry about. But maybe you could excuse an NPC being adapted to cold.
Sure.
Or maybe they all have some kind of super shields, but they don't have a helmet.
Or the simulation's not working properly.
Yeah, or they're just not affected by cold because the simulation's fucked up.
You can explain anything now. That's the thing. Like anything that happens in that game, you can just be, it's bugging.
I mean, that was the first time they introduced that story. It was a bit of a like. It felt like they were excusing how fucked up the game was,
right?
But then they turned it into like a real story, where it's like, okay, I guess this does. It is a story. It's not just an excuse.
It still feels a little bit like an excuse.
But there's so much more stuff in that game now than there was. The simulation has been upgraded to be better.
Atlas has been busy.
Yeah. So I started playing that again on a new file to get to the point where I can theoretically find a portal, I guess. But then still, you know, it's still No Man's Sky in like UI.
Are there more
You're
fun...
still holding down the button.
Right. Are there more fun creature variants now then? Have they added more parts?
I haven't seen enough yet to tell. I mean, they mostly have looked mostly how I remember them so far. Maybe a few more frills in some cases, but but that might just be a coincidence. You can ride them, in theory.
Okay.
However you do that, and why would you want to when you could just build a car at some point?
Depends if it flies or not. If you can ride a flying thing.
Probably not, because the flying animals are always like there's a very distinct difference between the land animals and the flying animals in No Man's Sky. Land animals are the ones that jiggle around on the land in that way that you've seen in the videos, and flying animals just fly in loops, and they're much smaller usually. Or I guess there are the giant flying animals occasionally, but I'm not sure how you'd get on one to tame it. I guess
Still no really big ones that eat the little ones.
well, not really big ones. There are like carnivore ones that actually chase the other ones around.
So it still doesn't look like its reveal trailer.
No, they still don't knock over the trees.
Yeah.
But yeah, and from what I've seen so far, the base building has been upgraded again. Like the unlock tree is a bit more. Well, it's now a menu that has like a tree, so you can actually tell like, what you're unlocking towards building different parts of your base. And also, it has like a wiring system now for power. So you like not everything just automatically gets power. You have to actually connect everything up, and it's got like batteries and switches and that kind of stuff, which may make it marginally more interesting, possibly. I don't know, but I haven't seen any of the new advanced, like supposedly they reworked the sort of crafting elements of it, because that always did suck, like the refining machines and whatnot. But I haven't got to that yet, so I don't know. And I don't know how much that will get played. I mean, we've already started playing Stardew, and we may then go on to No Man's Sky. Like, which one of those is going to win out? I'm not sure.
Probably Stardew.
Probably Stardew. But then again, I don't think we've ever played Stardew in multiplayer to the end. We get to like year 2, and then we stop, which is technically about halfway through. So yeah, that's me playing a lot of random games. And Rocket League, obviously. Never forget Rocket League.
There's an event on.
Well, yeah, I guess. Although, as I said, it's like Rocket League is basically now that they've decided to include the Chinese New Year event, they're pretty much at the point where it's non-stop events all year.
Well, what are they going to do after? What do they normally have after the Lunar New Year?
It'll be the Easter-y kind of thing.
Easter events. Yeah,
I forgot there was an Easter. There was a springtime one,
and then summer.
The summer one lasts forever, though.
Yeah, because it can, because it's kind of generic, I guess. But then Halloween.
Is it going to be 90s
winter.
summer this time? They did 80s.
Yeah, they did 80s. It'd be better if they went backwards, not forwards.
What kind of
Summer of
brand
60s.
crossovers?
Well, we always say, or I always say,
It's Olympics this year, isn't it? Maybe they'll do.
Oh yeah,
maybe
they'll do an
Tokyo
Olympics.
Overwatch. Oh, no, Overwatch. Would do
Yeah,
it, because they have their summer games
Olympics
thing.
back. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, of course.
but we always said the next brand crossover for Rocket League has to be the GMC, right? Got to get the 18 down in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty much like what other famous cars are there left?
Especially if the goal explosion is just Mr. T's face.
No, it won't. It'll probably be an explosion of some kind, because that's what that was about, right? Explosions.
Well, it'll explode and it'll just go ba 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 ba.
Oh, you'd hope so. At least that. You got to fit the musical sting in there somewhere. Or just make it the boost. The boost just plays the whole tune along the hold down the button.
Da, 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 da. Every time
That would be pretty funny.
What? Every time you
Really
press the button, it
annoying.
restarts.
Yeah.
So like going da 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 da. I could get behind that.
But
I mean,
once,
literally be behind me. So.
yes. Once they do that, that's like they're out of cars, right? We've already got the
They're out of cars.
we've already got the
No
Knight
more
Rider
famous
and the
cars.
DeLorean and the Batmobile and multiple Batmobiles and the Jeep from fucking Stranger Things / Jurassic Park.
Oh right, yeah.
It's like what is there left? What famous cars are there? I
They
mean,
got Herbie,
Dukes
the
of
love
Hazzard.
bug.
They kind of already made that.
Not really. There isn't really a VW Beetle, is there? Like,
No.
Beetle crazy.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I don't know.
No, that'd be weird.
Trying to think of car characters.
No, they're doing wacky races.
Wacky
Wacky races.
They'll have like
The
Dick
Arkansas
Dastardly's
Chugga Bug.
purple thing.
Yep.
I'll do a speed racer.
Chugga Bug.
Speed
Speed
racer.
racer.
The Arkansas Chugga Bug.
That's a great name.
The Creepy Coop. Is that right?
I can't really remember any of the other names up really.
What's Lady Penelope?
She's not Lady,
Not Lady
Penelope.
Penelope. What's her name? Penelope Pitstop. Sorry.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And isn't there Mr. Perfect as well or something?
Yeah, Mr. Perfect. Yeah.
Captain Caveman.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the Boulder Brothers, wasn't it, or something? Captain Caveman and the Boulder Brothers.
It was like a military tank like one, wasn't there? And there's there was a Red Baron type guy.
Oh yeah. Massive mustache.
Yeah, can't remember.
The detail everyone needs. Massive mustache.
Right, is that you, Zeg?
Yeah, I guess so. That's like a whole shit. I tell you, very briefly go back to things I haven't been playing. Still haven't fucking finished Luigi's Mansion 3. I really
Right.
should get back to that.
Yeah, you should. We might finish in co-op.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
Cool. Laura, you're our guest.
Hey,
What have you been playing?
I've been playing Disco Elysium.
Is
Yeah.
there any actual disco in this game?
Yeah, there's disco clothes that you can wear.
Excellent.
It has something to do with the backstory. Like it's kind of as if the dystopia started in the
In the
80s.
70s?
In the
Oh.
70s, sorry. Don't mind me. Yeah, but then I sung some karaoke. But that's about
it-
it. For the
Is
disco.
as good as the Yakuza karaoke minigames.
No, it's not. It can't hold a candle to the Yakuza karaoke games.
No.
Which Yakuza games have you?
I've played all the Yakuza games that were on PS4. So I've played Yakuza 4, 5, 6, and 0.
It's pretty good game.
What was the one you were playing, Rob?
Kiwami, which unfortunately
Kiwami.
didn't have the karaoke game in.
Yeah, Kiwami is the same as number.
It's the first one.
It's the
It's the remake of the first one.
remake of the first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't 4 and 5. I played Kiwami, Kiwami 2, 6, and 0. I think that's right.
That sounds right, yeah. 'cause,
Kiwami 2 is a lot better.
I want to say they put out 3, 4, and 5 fairly recently in a collector's bundle, but they're not really remakes. They're just like the original.
No, I think they just made it so that you could play them on modern machines.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all really good.
Looking forward to... Well, Kiwami 2 is coming to Game Pass, so I'll be playing that soon.
Yeah, I think you can get it on PC now, but my computer
can?
wouldn't run it. Yeah, I
Sorry, I've
think so.
derailed your Elysium already.
Yeah, so
I don't mind. I love
karaoke-wise-
Yakuza.
Karaoke wise, it can't beat Yakuza.
No, and there
but-
wasn't any like dancing games or pool or any of the other stuff. But it's a good.
Can you run a companion cafe or no? No.
Oh,
In this
a maid
dystopia.
cafe. No, you're like an alcoholic cop that wakes up with amnesia because they got so drunk the night before they don't know who they are or anything. Then you start from there. You got to investigate a murder. It's pretty dark, but it's very funny.
Who done it?
I don't know yet.
Did you do it?
I hope not.
Spoilers.
I bet
Well,
that's
you were
one of the
drunk.
outcomes.
I was
Yeah.
drunk, so it could have been me, but we'll see. It's very long.
I've heard about the thoughts mechanic. What thoughts have you acquired?
Communism.
Fantastic.
What
Yeah,
else?
what's that communist? You're having communist thoughts?
I just it unlocks communist responses to everything, and I think ultimately I can, help the union with a revolution, or you can side with the
It's like Grim Fandango.
filthy capitalist. Yeah, so Grim
The
Fandango
workers
doesn't give you a
can
choice.
control the means of production.
What a great game.
So, what are the thoughts? Communism.
Thoughts apart from communism? Well, they're mostly like, a thought to remember where I lived, stuff like that, things to help me out.
Oh, so they also act as like memories, do they? That you
Yeah,
sort of unlock.
but I don't think I've got far enough to like really make proper use of them yet.
If they have communism, like do they have like can you go full on Nazi or something? Or
Yeah, you can become a white supremacist, or the equivalent
my
of a
word.
white supremacist.
In Disco World.
In Disco World, yeah, there's like different races of people, but they're not the same as ours.
Afro supremacist.
Yeah, something like that. I still haven't. I've been playing for about 12 hours. I still haven't got the dead body down from the tree that it's hanging in. Got distracted by a little boy who talked me into stealing a load of cocaine from his dad. So we're doing that right now.
Some solid police work.
Yeah.
Just leave the body in the tree.
I was like,
Steal
I'll
some cocaine.
confiscate it. But I didn't confiscate it because it gave me a good boost.
What, you took the cocaine?
Yeah, you get a boost for taking cocaine. You can pass energy-rich things better. But it makes your
Fantastic.
morality go down. So we'll see what happens.
It's got a morality meter.
Not so much morale, rather than morality.
Morale
Like, you know,
meter,
how
okay.
good I'm feeling about myself, which isn't great.
Goes down if you keep doing coke, does it?
Yeah.
I suppose there's some realism there. Too real, man.
Yeah, it's pretty real.
I can get an energy, get all my energy back. What if it works in a run?
Maybe.
You're going to be trying this, Rob.
I could get to 8 miles and then just do some coke.
I'm not
wouldn't
sure that
recommend
would
it.
work.
No.
Probably you'd faint.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been fainting anyway at that point, so it's fine.
Yeah, same.
I'll take the risk.
So, are there a lot of characters? Do you have a partner? Rob?
Yeah, I've got a partner. He's kind of annoying, but he follows me around everywhere.
Can you get away from him?
I'm not sure yet. I'm really not far enough into this game to give it a good review.
No, you don't. That's fine.
I think that's true of most of what we say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mostly.
Times.
I would say play the game. It's really good as long as you don't mind loads and loads of dialogue that stretches into eternity. Those are the kind of games I like. A lot of people don't like them. I get it. It's not so much happening that's not talking. That's it.
But that can be fine if the talking's really good.
Exactly.
It's like, I think that was one of the things that was a little bit that I was hoping for better when I was playing Outer Worlds. I kind of wished those conversations were way more engaging than they ended up being.
They could have done so much more with Outer Worlds than they did.
Did you play that?
I played a bit of it at a friend's. I haven't actually got the game myself. So it was going to be everything that was Anthem was going to be, or something like that.
Well,
I don't think Anthem
those
was ever
games
going to be
mixed up.
anything.
I keep confusing Anthem with another one of these games.
but it's like the Fallout New Vegas guys, right?
Yeah, that was meant to be really good as well. I haven't played New Vegas. Disco Elysium. Oh yeah, so if you ever played Dungeons and Dragons or a tabletop RPG like that, it's basically that in a computer game.
Lots of rules.
You don't really see the rules happening, but you do dice checks for everything you're trying to do.
And you see those, right? Like,
Yeah,
oh, I
it
got
tells you
unlucky.
like how likely you are to roll
right.
to be able to do something. Like if you want to punch someone in the face, but I picked to be like a really physically weak character.
But now I'm imagining that could be really funny. You get the dice check to actually like be like, oh, you throw the punch.
Yeah.
And then there's like your punch is like just made of like tissue paper.
That's how D&D works.
Yeah. So you're just like
Just D&D, yeah.
You do the what's his name? Trapped in the Closet guy, not R. Kelly, but the other one. That South Park episode. You know what I mean? Oh my
Tom
god!
Cruise? No.
Who? What?
No.
Not. Oh,
Face Off Man. You do the Face Off thing.
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
Not Nicolas Cage, the other one. John Travolta. There you go.
John Travolta.
Got there in the end.
You do his like face thing instead of a punch.
That could work. Yeah, there's always another way to get around a fight. Like you don't have to punch anyone. Sometimes it's funnier just to try and punch him.
Just a spiral into your hole of despair.
Yeah.
And I've got you. You've played about 20 minutes of Zelda.
Breath of the Wild,
Right.
yeah.
Because I just booted it up like this afternoon, managed to connect it to the TV
The buttons are the wrong way around.
on the Switch.
The A button is where the B button should be.
That still confuses me.
But you have to go between the two, Rob. I don't know how you do that. Like, because I don't have an Xbox, so I don't.
I guess I kind of just don't remember what the buttons are called.
No, that's the point. You learn the positions, not
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when you're thinking about jumping in Zelda, you're just hitting the A button.
But I
It's
am
not, it's
basing
B.
it. I am basing it on the positions. I'm pretty sure
positions are different.
that when I play the PlayStation, you press the X button for yes, and that's at the bottom. But if you play on the Switch controller, it's on the right-hand side.
Yes.
Yeah, that is the only one that does get me, where it's like the
Yeah.
confirm button is
Yeah.
still A
Yeah,
in a lot of
they're
times.
backwards.
But if you play on the PlayStation in Japan, then the circle on the right is the confirm, and the X at the
Yeah.
bottom
Oh.
is the go back.
I guess I should go to Japan.
Yeah. So the Nintendo one is like the Japanese way, I suppose. But they haven't
Oh.
done that before. Like on the N64 or something, then the A is the big one, right?
Yeah.
And that's confirm.
And
Well,
it's
the B
the
is the
GameCube,
left
right?
hand.
GameCube, yeah.
The giant A button on the cube. But the
Is
SNES
good.
controller follows that pattern, right? So they've returned to the SNES layout.
Oh, is it
and,
like the SNES? Oh,
and
okay.
the DS and 3DS have that layout as well.
SNES controller. What was the first
Hmm.
games console you had?
That I had.
Anybody? Yeah.
Well, I had a Game Gear, I guess.
I don't. The Amiga doesn't really count as a console.
an
Yeah, but
Atari
I've looked at the
ST.
Atari. Yep.
Oh, Atari ST, yeah. That was
Ah.
yours,
That's
Zach,
the
wasn't it?
oldest one we had.
Did you have
Actually,
Buggy
technically,
Boy?
mine was the ZX
I have what?
Spectrum.
Yeah.
Did you have Buggy Boy?
No, I never heard of Buggy Boy.
What game?
What-
I wish I
Not
had
really,
done.
not really an Atari specific game. But
Okay,
yes,
what
it
did
was
you
good.
have then?
Sky Strike, like an old version of Frogger, but it wasn't called that.
Frog crosses
Bit
road.
dangerous. I'm trying to think. Cities Fun with Numbers. That was mine.
This is when the parents try to educate you with games.
Yeah, it was a birthday present. I was
I've
so
got some sort of-
hyped to have a computer
You were
game.
lucky, yeah. I used to have a childminders that would have had an Atari ST.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had to go to obviously it never had it at home. I would have to go to.
We always
friends.
had a computer from when I was born.
Wow.
That's nice having older brothers. You're the oldest, so it wouldn't have happened. But
Yeah, I
maybe
didn't-
your brother had a computer before you would have done.
I didn't have it. I didn't have anything until like 1996, and I had a full-on PC with Civilization 2 on it.
Do you
I
not have
think.
an N64? Or a SNES
My
or
brother had an
something?
N64. I didn't. No, we didn't have a SNES. We didn't have anything. I just had
Oh.
the Game Gear.
Deprived
Yeah.
childhood.
Yeah, I was deprived for video games.
64 wasn't about until
Yes.
98 anyway, was it? So it's-
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Game
yeah.
Boy?
That's it. No, because my I wasn't. Yeah,
No, we had Game Gears, didn't we?
I had a Game
What's
Gear.
a Game Gear? Is
It
that-
was the Sega
Sega.
Game Boy thing, which was like color, but
right.
like 8 batteries for breakfast. So
yeah,
it
the
was
same
basically-
with the Game
It
Boy.
was like
It
attached.
wasn't
to the wall.
really portable. You only ever played it plugged in.
Because
It was
we
not
got
as good as
Game
a
Boy
Game Boy.
Colors.
I had
Yeah,
a
that
Game
was
Boy
later,
Color, which
yeah.
was the backlight they fixed. On the original Game Boy, it took 4 AA batteries that would just die in an hour, like you say, but also a thing over the top with a light on it, because if the sun wasn't shining right into your face,
Yeah.
you couldn't see.
But the
Yeah.
original
Good
Game
times.
Boys were all right for that. They were backlit, right?
Well,
They
they
were
were
green
3Ds.
lights. Yeah,
No,
well,
it was
they,
the
but they
Game Boy
were backlit.
Advance,
Yeah, they were
wasn't it? Like
The
the
the GBA wasn't backlit.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
think
the
the
Game Boy
GB, I
Advance.
don't think the
Didn't
GBC
see.
was backlit, was it?
No. Yeah, it was the Game Boy. Which one? The light GBA light one
Oh, they actually made a specific one.
They
Didn't
made one with a light
With the
because
flip
people
top one.
complained. Yeah.
SP.
Oh.
SP.
Was
SP.
that-
That's
that
right.
was the one that was good.
The good one.
Yeah.
I didn't have one of those.
No.
No.
I've got a micro.
Oh, why? That's
At
awesome,
least-
though.
Like, yeah, I've got no way of charging it, but I
I
have.
kind of
one.
wish I had one of those, but
They are seriously cool. They are
Yeah,
tiny
I mean,
and
they're really cool.
impossible, but like they're not comfortable to use.
right, okay.
But it's just
They're
fascinating.
like
that they
collector's
exist.
items, those things. I don't know.
I don't know if many. I don't know how many got out there, but
I think David's
yeah,
got
I've got
one.
one of those.
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, ZX Spectrum was my starting point. Trying to play squash on a terrible
Squash on a
rubber
computer.
keyboard. Yeah,
Wow.
and it was real squidgy. It's an
Real
Xbox
squidgy.
keyboard.
ZX
Literally rubber.
Yeah.
Not a click to it.
Was
It
this
was really,
that?
and the keys could actually get caught under the case.
Yeah,
as
because
well.
they were rubber.
Wow. So this was like a separate console, or was it like, I can't remember which one it was. We had the keyboard plugged into the TV, and you put floppy disks into the side of the keyboard.
Mhm.
Oh, that was like the ST, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
the ST did that, and the Amiga. But no, this predated that. This was-
Wow.
I had this when I was 5.
Like
And it
Pong
was-
and stuff.
I don't know if I had a
It was
Pong
on the
game on it
Spectrum.
actually.
Like the
Squash
first.
I mean, squash pretty much
It's
is
close, yeah, but it was like played from like it was sort of 3D, like for a Spectrum game,
Wow.
like because it was like the wireframe court, and then
Yeah.
like the two dudes like walking around at the front, and it actually had like the worst speech samples I've ever heard in a video game on it.
Amazing.
Was
Like,
it was a tape though, right?
yeah, it was tape loaded.
Which is probably how you get speech samples in.
Wow.
Well, no, because it had to load it all into memory because it read off the scores.
Sure, but it's still loading literal tape.
Well, I guess, but it was like it wasn't like it could had the memory to store actual audio.
Well, no, I suppose it would have been hella compressed even if it was
Yeah.
reading some kind of audio data.
And the whole hard drive was like 1 megabyte.
I didn't have a hard drive.
Oh, this thing. No, I don't know anything. I've seen them on TV with like when they first made home consoles that I think had tapes. But
Yeah, it's
I
it's
never
not,
had
yeah,
one.
even predated the C64, which is the one most people think.
Yeah,
about
most
when they
people
think
had
about
that,
tape
like-
loaders.
I think Henry had one of
Um,
those Commodore 64s. Sensible Soccer. Mostly.
Sensible Soccer.
No, that was an Amiga game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was on Commodore though as well. I'm not sure.
Was it?
Did you have that on there? Oh yeah, you had Sensible.
Oh
Golf.
yeah, I had sensible soccer and sensible golf. They were great
Cannon
games.
fodder.
Cannon
Yeah.
fodder we had, yeah.
Right, Rob, you better go. What you been playing?
Better go. All right, so yeah.
Better go. Better go. It's your
I've been
turn.
bashing my head against mountains in Death Stranding.
Oh,
I'm-
God.
Oh.
Why?
Falling
I'm-
over.
I'm ploughing my way through this, almost literally, because the snowy bits I'm sort of ploughing through with my legs.
You keep falling over and everything
It's-
falls down the mountain. don't you?
I haven't had that. No, I've been pretty
Oh.
good because, like, you get an all-terrain skeleton pretty early on if you're, if you find people, and it's like once you've got that, it's like actually going through the snow isn't so bad, but you just can't carry as much.
So
it's
you have
I don't
to
know.
like balance when you're walking, is it?
Yeah, if you overload yourself, you'll occasionally like start to like overbalance left
Yeah.
or right. So you're pulling the triggers to try and
Oh god.
center yourself. But that's only if you overload yourself. If you're
Okay.
if you're keeping your weight low, then it's not so bad. But the game is constantly encouraging you to carry more and more and more.
Just
So
stuff
you don't have to
everywhere.
grind so long to get through all the missions.
Pretty much, yeah. Because I've just been mainlining it pretty much since we last spoke, which is I think might be the right approach because the area I've got to, which is the snowy mountains and all that stuff, it's a real pain in the arse to get around. Vehicles kind of get pointless because they just can't traverse the terrain, and the game starts giving you like awkward things like, here, have an antimatter bomb that you can't carry very far without it, or jiggle around too much before it like explodes.
Seems unwise.
Yeah, so you have to put it on your back. He's like, 'cause the moment you put it on a vehicle, vehicles like seem to constantly set off the vibration sensor on it. So I like exploded within a few hundred meters. It's like great. Yeah, so I don't know. It's one of those games where I really just don't quite know what to say about it. I'm still drawn in because there is something like nice about just walking through the mountainous environment and you versus the elements in a strange zen-like state, I suppose, just plodding around. It's like, but then
Maybe you should go hiking in the Andes or something, Rob.
Or become a
it's
delivery
actual
man.
movement.
Become a UPS guy.
Yeah.
Dream job.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have to wear giant exoskeletons and
Not
have
yet.
singing
Mm.
robots.
Wait another 15 years.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
That's coming up.
And I don't have the stamina.
That's
Well,
what
maybe
the Exos is for.
that's what the exoskeleton is for.
Yeah. So it's Yeah, so I don't know. There is something to that process. There's something like when you're traversing through, and you're eventually like because the environment's getting harsher. I'm starting to engage with the building systems a lot more. So I'm putting up zipline networks. I'm putting all this stuff down so I can actually just okay. That bit was a pain in the ass to get by. Now I can build in this area, or I can just build a shortcut so I can just fly over the top of it. Fantastic, and that feels good to sort out and build your own little network, and then build onto other people's networks when their buildings start appearing in your environment and things like that. And it's like that's really quite nice to be like, I'm making progress. I'm besting you, world.
Sometimes games are peaceful. Like I remember reading a review of No Man's Sky before all the patch with the stuff came out, and they were saying they just really liked it because it was floating through empty space. It was very peaceful.
Apart from the bit where you're constantly getting alerts that your shit's running out. That
Well,
was the problem with No Man's Sky originally.
that was also there. They probably mentioned it, but
I can see it.
I think it's all fixed now.
Well, there's like a contingent of people that still like want the original No Man's Sky experience,
like Warcraft.
There's people who like Mist.
Still fine to like just fly around.